The Pirates have traded their all-star closer to the New York Yankees in exchange for 3 prospects. We're going to break down who the Pirates got, what this means for the future, and yeah, I'll give you my honest take on the deal. Spoiler alert, I'm not thrilled. That's next on a special Locked On Pirates.
You are Locked On Pirates, your daily Pittsburgh Pirates podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. Go to 5hourenergy.com today and use my promo code LOCKEDONGolf to receive 20% off your order. Only valid through September 30th. Order transfusion flavored 5 Hour Energy shots today. Welcome to Locked On Pirates. I'm Gary Morgan. Today we've got a big one, a trade that's going to sting for a while. David Bednar, the Renegade, the Pride of Mars, is headed to the Bronx. Let's start with the return. Let's get right into it. The Pirates received 3 players from the Yankees. Rafael Flores, a catcher first baseman, currently in AAA and ranked as the Yankees' number 8 prospect. Edglin Perez, another catcher / first baseman, this one in low A and ranked 14th in their system. And Brian Sanchez, an unranked outfielder who's more of a lottery ticket. Let's break each of them down a little bit. Rafael Flores, he's the headliner in this deal. He's a big dude, 6'4", 230 pounds. He's got serious pop. Flores went undrafted, signed with the Yankees in 2022, and just kept hitting. In 2024, he was their minor league player of the year, slashing .279, .379, .495 with 21 home runs across high A and double A. This year, he's kept it going. 15 home runs in 87 games at double A Somerset before his recent promotion to triple A. He's only played 10 games there, so it's early. The bat is legit. He's got pull-heavy approach, big-time exit velocities, and 150 WRC plus in double A. That's pretty impressive. Defensively, he's still figuring it out behind the plate. He's thrown out just 17% of base stealers, but scouts like his hustle and footwork. He could end up at first base or DH, but the bat is what's going to carry him if he's going to move forward at all. Next up, Edglin Perez. Guess this kid's interesting. Signed out of Venezuela in 2023 for just $50,000. And already he's being called the best defensive catcher in the Yankees system, at least up until today. He's only 5'10", 155 pounds. Scouts say he plays bigger than that. He's a great receiver, solid blocker, and he's thrown out 26% of base stealers. Personally, I don't think that frame is exactly the profile you're looking for in a low A guy. You want somebody who's going to grow into his body, and he's probably already just about there. I don't think you're going to get much more mass out of him. At the plate, he's got a mature approach. In the 2024 Florida Complex League, he walked 45 times in 51 games and posted a .444 on base percentage. Power's not there yet, just 2 homers, but scouts think he could grow into 12 to 15 homer pop. He's a long-term project with an ETA around 2028, and that's wishful thinking at this point, folks. Honest to God, I think 2029 is more realistic, if at all. And finally, Brian Sanchez. This is your classic lottery ticket. Another Venezuelan signee, 6'3", left-handed bat, raw tools galore. He hit .304 with a .385 on base percentage and a .565 slug. In a short stint with the Tampa Tarpons. No home runs yet in the full season ball, but the swing is geared for loft, and he's got room to grow into the frame. Defensively, he's a corner outfielder probably with decent range and average arm, speed's above average. If the bat develops, he could be something. If not, well, he's unranked for a reason, right? I mean, I'll get into my opinion of the deal as we go forward. I would say overall, Flores is probably not a headliner that you would have wanted to see. The profile's okay for him. I do think he has a good chance to be a major league hitter. From everything I've read, it seems like it's a stretch to think he'll stick at catcher, which, okay. I mean, I guess I understood it if you were going to go for a catcher as your feature. Henry has underwhelmed. You could use some offense at that position. It wouldn't be the worst thing ever. First base, I mean, I don't think you can call it solved yet with Spencer Horwitz, but I think you can certainly call it on the way to being solved. Certainly a good swing at it. So I'm not sure his first base pedigree really fits in all that much. And DH, hey, listen, anybody could DH. If they're using you regularly as a DH in the minors, it tends to mean they're either just trying to force your bat into the lineup because it's that good, or you really just can't find a position to live at. And I'm not 100% sure that's where we are with Flores, but I also don't think he has a defined place on the field to play yet. First base and catcher are most likely. DH is right there. I mean, it's possible. This is a guy that really could be here next year. I wouldn't advise bringing him right to the league. He's only been in AAA for 10 games, and it hasn't been easy for him so far. Let's at least let him get adjusted to that level first. 211 in 10 games isn't something to worry about, but it's also not something to get super excited about and pretend he can just skip that level. We've taken a 29-year-old they got in who's been murdering AAA, and they didn't promote him right away. So I would not expect this to be an immediate promotion either. This is a project. If he helps in 2026, and he's the only one of these three who could, it's probably looking at like mid-season. I doubt this is a guy that's fighting in spring for a spot. He could be, but I would think he probably slots in even right in the Abraham Gutierrez range. If Abraham Gutierrez can get healthy, he's probably right there as a backup consideration. Don't know what they're going to do with Endy, but you have to think that his catching future is in danger at least. So maybe not the worst idea to get more catching help. I don't think you needed two of them in this one deal, especially one of them who is Altuve sized. Not that I should put that down. Altuve's been a great hitter for a long time. If this guy's a great hitter, though, we won't know until 2028. So hardly worth worrying about the other two components in this deal. Edglin Perez probably he's interesting. Again, that size just scares me. 5'10", 155 pounds behind the plate. Yes, his defensive metrics are great. Yes, he looks like a good prospect to catch. But man, that frame just does not sound like it's going to hold up back there, does it? It feels like every bit a guy that's going to end up moving off that position. And that's if his bat takes him far enough for it to matter. There's a long way to go before you get there. I got a lot more to talk about in this one, and we will. But let's take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk a little bit about what we're losing. David Bednar. Whoops. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Let's be honest, some days on the course or off it, you just need the extra boost to stay sharp and energized. I was on this hole the other day. It was an island shot, and all four of my buddies were like, we're going to make this shot. Not a single one of us made it. I wish we had one of these 5-Hour Energies. Maybe it would have given us the boost we needed. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors, of course. The grape, ginger, lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go to without chasing down the bev cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that's the number 5hourenergy.com, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONGolf to receive 20% off your order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. This code is not good on subscription orders. Whether you're meeting up with friends or trying to turn 18 holes into 36, get the energizing boost you need to power through. Order transfusion flavored 5-hour energy shots today. Hey, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. Go ahead and hit me with a subscribe and a like. We'll talk about this trade for a few days, I'm sure, but let's get it all out of our system today as best we can. Let's talk about what we're losing. David Bednar wasn't just a closer, he was our closer. A hometown kid from Mars, PA, who grew up a Pirates fan and lived the dream. Traded here in 2021, he quickly became a fan favorite and one of the best relievers in baseball. It was back-to-back All-Star in 2022 and 2023. Led the National League in saves in 2023 with 39. Elite company. And, of course, the Renegade. Every time that Styx songs come on the speakers at PNC Park, you knew hometown boy David Bednar was coming out to shut it down. It became a little bit of a moment. This 100th career save we just got to see was a full circle moment. In front of the hometown crowd in the city he grew up loving, Bednar etched his name into Pirates history alongside other legend closers. Roy Face, Kent Tekulve, Jason Grilly, Mark Melancon, all of those guys. A great closer he was. And it wasn't always smooth sailing. He had a rough 2024, got sent down to AAA early this year, but he battled back. He has a perfect save streak right now of 21 for 21. He was the NL reliever of the month in June. I mean, listen, coming back from what he came from, that's grit. That's Pittsburgh. More than the numbers, though, Bednar became kind of a cultural cornerstone. He brought leadership and stability and a blue-collar mentality that fans could really rally around. Even as trade rumors swirled, he always stayed locked in, focused, and grounded. Even last year when people were calling for him to be DFA'd, he smiled in the face of it. You got to say, honestly, here was a guy that had earned the respect of this city and this team. And when he hit trouble, we turned on him. We did. As a city, we turned on him. He smiled through it. He didn't lash at us. Rowdy Tellez tried to. But he didn't lash out at us. He let us scream it out because he knew if he were in our shoes, he'd be just as frustrated. He probably called Jason Grilly a bum a time or two after everything he did towards the end when he was struggling. And now he's a Yankee. He was the kind of guy you wanted in your clubhouse. He really was. I think he had some issues with the tipping that came out, and I'm not 100% sure why that took so long to discover. And I don't believe that he just went down to AAA and relearned his competitive edge. That seems to be what he tends to say when he gets asked about what exactly happened in the minors. But I don't know if I buy that or not. There seemed to be some mechanical differences in what he was doing when he came back. Much more emphasis on the curveball. We'll see how that continues into his Yankees time. We'll, in general, see how he does with the Yankees. I don't believe they'll use him immediately as a closer. They have a couple other options there, and we'll see what happens. Both of those guys, Devin Williams and I think Weaver, they're both on their last year of their deal. So next year you could see David Bednar closing out games in the Bronx, I would think. Maybe even this year, we'll see. Devin Williams has been up and down, and Weaver, I think he was kind of put there out of desperation a couple of years ago and just never left because he did a good job. But Bednar's got a lot of experience closing out games. We'll see if it means as much to him not doing it at home. He always talked very much so about what it meant to do it as a Pittsburgh Pirate and do it here in front of these fans. And he was huge in the community. Huge. And we talked about that a lot with Neil Walker, right? Somebody always has to hold that mantle of the connection to the community, and David wore that well for a long time. Maybe it'll be Isaac Mattson now. I don't know. We'll see how it works out. But that's a big absence, and I mean this like as sincerely as I can. I'm involved in like Miracle League, and I've done a lot of the food shelter donations around here too for different things for work. It's not like I'm going out and doing this stuff altruistically all the time. People make it easy for you to sign up for this stuff when you do it through your workplace. But David was one of those guys who was always there. I can't tell you how many events I've seen him at that he pitched that night. I can't. I mean, there was one time I was down in Washington County doing something, and I'll never forget. There was a game that night. At the time, we were going off at like 7:05, I believe, and I'm down in Washington County. It's maybe 12:30 in the afternoon or something at a food distribution thing, and there's David Bednar. And I talked to him. I'm like, "Oh, David, don't you have a game tonight?" He's like, "Yeah, but I won't pitch until like 10 o'clock." You know what I mean? Like, that was the way he was. You didn't have to do that. He didn't have to take that on. He just did. And I shouldn't be talking about him like he's dead either. He's not. How do we think he'll do as a Yankee? I don't know. I wish him well. I really do. But man, this one's going to hurt for a little while. He loved this team. And I could argue he loved this team more than some of the folks running it have ever seemed to. And maybe therein lies the issue, I mean, I understand they approached him earlier this season about potentially extending him. And I'm guessing that those numbers never came together. They were probably looking to pay him less than they would have via arbitration next year. And I would imagine they wanted him for a couple of years so that they didn't have to deal with this right away again. Now, just this morning, it had come across my desk that Bob Nutting and Travis Williams were very much so not on board with trading David Bednar, and that it was going to take some coaxing from the baseball ops side if they were going to pull this off. I don't know if this package would have swayed me if I were in that decision-making space. But I can tell you, like, looking at it, it hasn't swayed me to be super happy about it. I wonder what was talked about. I wonder why the autonomy is given here to Ben Cherington to make a deal like that. I mean, I'll get into my thoughts on the trade itself here in the end. I'm really trying to keep this focused on David Bednar himself and what he meant. I don't think he ever took over the bullpen like, say, Mark Melancon did when it became the Shark Tank or whatever. I don't think we had that kind of a magnanimous overriding personality that kind of tagged the entire bullpen with one identity. I don't think that ever happened under David's tenure here. I really feel like for a long time, he was pretty much it. He was the show in the bullpen. Everything else was bits and pieces and waiver claims and scraps, and the bullpen was god awful in 2021 when he got here. He was it that year. It was bad in 2022. In 2023, he was the best. Really, it was 2024 was the first time I think it really got questioned as to whether he was the best closer or not, or the best back-end option. And that took a $10 million signing of Aroldis Chapman to actually bring somebody in here that overshadowed him that much. And who knows, maybe that overshadowing, maybe that competition, maybe that's what actually pushed David Bednar to struggle as much as he did in 2024. Maybe he couldn't handle it. Maybe it was injury. Maybe it was starting a guy that should have started on the IL. We'll never know. And he'll never say, because he's too classy a guy. He's never going to sit here and badmouth this organization. I guarantee you won't hear that once. I hope for his sake it's a good match. I do. Now, When we come back, let's talk about what I think about this deal. All right, welcome back to Locked On Pirates. Let's get into it. My honest take. I'm underwhelmed. I'm not furious. I'm not devastated. I'm just underwhelmed. It's not like I don't understand what happened to his value because of 2024 and even the beginning of this season. I don't discount that. I'm sure that that had something to do with his overall perception. Not everybody else has sat here and watched this resurrection from the grave and really taken it in for everything it is. They just see a wall of numbers. And while they look pretty good in 2024, they do remember, or 2025, they do remember that he spent some time in AAA. And that doesn't happen to 5 or 6 year veterans very often without major cause. So I understand what affected the value here. That's why I'm not furious or just beside myself about this trade. I understood his value. I would have liked the frontliner to be better and maybe just get one instead of two prospects. If it could have made that frontline prospect better. To be fair, I don't think that was with the Yankees. I think they could have had a better partner somewhere else, but you got to sell to who's willing to pay. I'm underwhelmed. And that might be the worst reaction of all, right? Because it means this deal doesn't move the needle. It doesn't excite. It doesn't inspire. It just is. Let's start with the value on paper. It's probably fair. Rafael Flores is a legitimate prospect. He's got real power, a disciplined approach, a little bit too much whiff in zone for my liking. He's already knocking on the door of the majors. If he hits, he could be a middle of the order bat. That's not nothing. But here's the thing. He's already 24. He turns 25 this year. He's going to need protected from the Roll 5 draft, so you don't get to play games on the 40-man. He's only played 10 games at AAA, so realistically, he is not helping the big club until 2026 at the earliest. And that's if everything goes right. It's a big if for a team that hasn't exactly nailed the development curve lately. The other two guys, Perez and Sanchez, listen, they're lottery tickets. Perez has a great glove and a mature approach at the plate, but he's years away. Sanchez has tools, but he's raw. These are long-term plays. Let's be honest, this front office doesn't have a great track record of turning raw into refined. And that brings me to the bigger issue, timing. This team has been selling the idea that 2026 things would need to start to click. So why are we trading Bednar for a package like this? They were in position to get what they wanted or walk away. If you're going to move Bednar, and I get it, believe me, I get it, relievers are volatile, and his value might not get higher. You got to get a difference maker back, a top 5 prospect, a guy who's ready to contribute now, not a maybe, not a project, a player. Instead, we got a package. It feels like it was built around convenience. The Yankees had some depth. They had a need. We had a piece. And boom, deal done. But was it the right deal? I'm just not convinced. And look, I know some fans are going to say, well, closers are replaceable. Sure. Sure they are. But you don't just replace that with a guy who might hit 20 homers in 2 years. Not right now. Not when you need to get better next year. I think that's the thing that disappointed me about this package the most. David Bednar was one of the few pieces that I thought they could have moved that would have brought back something that immediately helps in 2026. Even if it was a blocked prospect, which that is not what Flores is. Flores just got to AAA. I'm talking about somebody that If weren't for the fact that your major league roster was stacked in a certain place, he'd be here for sure. That type of player. I was hoping we'd at least get something like that back as a feature. Even if it was the only piece, I might have been more okay with it. It's not that I'm disinterested in the lottery tickets. It's that I'm most interested in 2026. And the only trade they've made so far that has anything to do with 2026 is Adam Frazier. And the guy they got is 29 years old, waiting for his first swing in the majors. One that this putrid offensive team has not even been willing to give yet. So yeah, I'm underwhelmed. Not because the return is awful, but because it's just okay. And in a moment that called for boldness, for vision, for something that made you sit up and say, wow, they're serious about winning, we got okay. And that's not good enough. It shouldn't be good enough. I'm going to have a lot more to say on this. I think I want to collect my thoughts a little bit more. I'll come at you with a new show tomorrow where we'll have to include everything else that they managed to get done in this trade deadline. But for right now, David Bednar to the Yankees. Fare thee well, brother. It's been nice, Renegade. Really, we appreciate what you did. You were a good soldier for a long time on a really bad team. A really good closer on a really bad team. Robbed him of stats that he would have gotten elsewhere. Now he has a shot to do it in the playoffs. Let's see what you got, Renegade. That's all I got. Let's go, Bucks.